Good afternoon. This is Weed Watchers coming at you again with another YouTube video, weekly recap. We're going to dip into what we looked at last week and cover a few news items and then review some charts. So let's get right to it. First of all, this is the Weed Watchers page. I want to thank everybody for last week for viewing, and our viewership is up what looks like about 300%, so it's good. Getting there. This is brought to you by Green Compass Group, and let's go through a few of the American names that we saw movements on last week. So one of my favorite news outlets is New Cannabis Ventures, and they did a few reviews here. Green Thumb Industries to sell 10 million shares. Their chart is up significantly. They're an industry leader, and earnings came in strong, and they have a cycle with which they handle their liquidation of assets and getting set up for the next run up to earnings. So here we have a good news from New Cannabis talking to us about the lot of revenues ahead specifically for American multi-state operators. That's what MSOs are. And MSRs are the name of the game in the cannabis industry right now. So what we have is, what that means is that because every state is an island, because we do not have a federal solution, and every state must, in its own right, in its own way, learn all of its lessons, if it doesn't at least look at its neighbors. But to operate in this industry as a business, you have to set up shop in each state individually, and the risk matrix is very intense. And so those who are succeeding at this are really succeeding at this, being able to operate in multiple states, hence the MSO. And this is great news to see that we got annual profitable revenue coming ahead. And to see where that revenue is coming in, we have the top three American operators that we reviewed last week, which are Cresco Labs with an excellent Q2 revenue, up 42%, 94 million, doing great there. We got TerraSend coming in, net sales of 47 million, with an adjusted EBITDA of 11.4 million. That's great news. TerraSend is kicking butt in Florida. Another Florida strong one is CURLF, up 22%. Now its numbers are much larger, almost by 3, because it is a multi-state operator, much larger than the other two that I previously discussed. So last bit of news here is with all this potential upward thrust with earnings, we must be very cautious, because the DEA and again, seeking a federal solution here, the FDA, the DEA are having quite a battle, and the sequence of events, especially with the U.S. government and states, is going to follow a hemp model. Hemp will, because of the 2018 Farm Bill, lead the precedent. Cannabis will finally regulate itself in relationship to that. So it is extremely important to keep an eye on what's happening with hemp. And when the DEA drops a bomb, as they just did on August 20th, the whole sector takes a breath and a step back. So this being the end of earnings seasons, we urge caution and not exuberance, because a lot of the stocks that are doing well, they're so few and far between that it's really important to keep an eye on what's what. So let's take a quick look here at the Trade Ideas Weed Watchers channel curated by Green Compass Group charts here, just to see really quickly what effects the DEA is having, because quite frankly, GW Pharma is one of the biggest benefactors of the rulings that the FDA had around CBD approximately, oh gosh, I'm probably rocking it about 2 years ago. But if we look at the weekly here, we see that GW Pharma, as it gained notoriety and it passed its FDA relations, it's shot up to, good Lord, nearly 200. That's quite a drawback since the problems that arose last summer around legalization and the hemp. But specifically hemp products that were going to compete with GW Pharma. So we have something that's, we have a potential curling here, but what's important to see is that for foreign names, and Pharma is definitely based out of the United Kingdom, we have to urge caution with our northern Canadian brothers and sisters, because in fact, they had their attempt to gain market share, and in fact what they proved is that they could grow cannabis companies, not cannabis. And we are, end of days, we do have to see revenues, and we do have to look at the fundamentals of a company to see if they're doing all right. And you'll see that there's a lot of similarity here between ACB and TLRY. This is a 45-degree angle down. APHA hasn't been doing actually it's doing a little bit better. It's one of my favorites. It gained the 200 and is fighting to keep it here, but it has a lot to do with the contracts that they've gotten in Europe. But compared to some of the American names, or let's take a look at IIPR, this is what we want to be looking at. We want to be seeing names that have had the challenge over the last coronavirus drop in the market, and that are doing, basically what the triple Qs are and the SPY are, and that is they're regrading previous highs and breaking out. So we have a blue sky breakout here for IIPR, which is one of the strongest REIT REITs in the business. And I think with that, I'm going to pass it over to Doob to jump in here and share his screen and share some of the excellent tickers that he's been tracking and words of wisdom that he has. So here we go.
How's it going, everybody? Like you were talking about here, we're looking at CGC on my FinViz and how it's broken down through that wedge. If the bulls try to bring it up, maybe we'll get a run to 17, back right up in here somewhere. But if the bears are going to take control, we're probably going to see maybe more of a downturn. As we're getting done with earnings, everybody, we got to realize people are going to take their profits. Clay's posted the news about the DEA and the hemp and everything. And like we tell you guys, always do your due diligence, go through the news, watch what's going on, look for the votes, the whole 9 yards. So there's not too much to talk about CGC. We just wanted to show you guys this chart and how it's doing a down cent now. So like I said, it could be a lot of profit taking, could be because of the news, but just watch everything. So we're going to switch over here to my TOS chart. And we got GRWG up there. Okay, as we know, this is just parabolic right here, you guys. What's parabolic obviously is going to have some pullbacks. We all know this. If you're been trading for years and day trading, you've seen this so many times come and go. So, it all depends on the bears and the bulls come this week, Do they want to take GRWG back up, or do they want to bring it back down? To me, the range it's in, it's difficult to long-term hold at this point. So if you're going to do anything, stay into the day trade. I got a little arrow here that's telling me it's a possible buy, but I can get a down arrow just as fast. So we're going to switch over here to Green Thumb. Green Thumb's another one. Here's our daily here, you guys. Took a beautiful trend up going into earnings. I always, like I've been telling everybody for the last 2 weeks, earnings has been priced in. You can see it on the run right here. When you see parabolic runs going into earnings like this, you got to figure that everything's priced in and there'll be a pullback sooner or later. I believe they got up to some pretty highs. If I'm pretty sure, these are some all-time highs on Green Thumb. So Green Thumb is a good company. They have cash in hand, and watch for the moves, you guys, on that one. I'm going to switch over here to CURLF. CURLF, same thing. We have nothing but uptrend. Nothing but uptrend, all the way till it reached its highs, and then it started pulling back. $10 pivot points are always a good point to where somebody might want to take their profits off. To me, this is all profit taking with the NITs. You know, like when he came out saying about the DEA yesterday, you know, there's probably a little bit more sell-off right there going into that day. So I want to go over one more before I end this, you guys, and this is Charlotte's Web. He was talking about the CBD and the hemp side. These guys are outstanding. This is oversold to me. I'm about ready to get into this stock myself personally. I ain't advising nobody to jump in here or anything of that sort, you guys. I just love it here, and I think it's found its bottom, as you can see right here. It is just consolidated, went up a little bit, came back down. And the reason I like Charlotte's Webs, everybody, is because they work with the kids, with the epilepsy and everything. They've been like the original company that's come out, been around the longest, trying to help with them and GWPH. I actually think they have ties with each other and stuff. So I really, really like this company right here, and they have decent cash and everything. So if you're looking into an investment, you know, this is not a bad one because they're doing good things for the kids and stuff. So I always, like I said, I've always liked Charlotte's Web. So I am pretty much done here, you guys. This is our going over what we seen last week. We got Planet 13 coming up and a couple other ones this week for earnings. Probably get a little bit of move on them, you know, day trade them, do your due diligence, everybody. If you like to hold them for long terms and you see the bottom on them, you know, make your decision. And, you know, like I said, always just keep watching the news when you're holding these long term. You know, there's a bunch of cheapy ones I wouldn't even look at, but the ones we've been going over with you guys for the last couple of weeks are pretty much all the big boys with the cash in it and nice grows and great medical background. So, Clay, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and everybody have a great night.
Great. Thanks, you, Doobie, for all that excellent intel and insight. And everybody stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next week for Weed Watchers Weekly Recap. Good night.